I'm able to unmute the mic. I'll leave the phone now. Yeah. Okay, I am a presenter now, and I think we should begin the session in 1 minute. So गौतम कुमार को मैसेज भेज दो, पहले वाला रिकॉर्डिंग बंद करके he should start in 1 minute. Sorry for the loss of 15 minutes. We have wasted everybody's time with the glitches going in. Okay, Anil Kumar ji, are you there?
Manu, should we start now?
Yes, and right now the screen is not showing you. Everybody else is coming up. Abhinandan, try to take properly. Yes, now it is better.
Manuji, should we start now then?
Yes.
Uh, Sorry for the disturbance. There were some technical glitches itself. Now everything is fine. So very good evening to all of you. I welcome our distinguished alumnus and resource person, Dr. Manu K, Vora ji, who is chairman and president of Business Excellence Incorporated, located in USA. Dr. Gidhari Lal ji, Gautam ji from AICT, and the other dignitaries also from AICT. I know that Shakti Tiwari ji, you are also present. Shakti Tiwari ji is Secretary, World Book of Records, UK. They are executives from industry, they are faculty members from AICT associated colleges and their students. Everybody is being welcomed this evening. And I also welcome my colleagues from the institute, media people, and the students from IIT BHU. Today we are going to have third session of soft skill program. It is on effective time management. The soft skill program is of sessions. The first one, which was held on 25th of March. The second one was on effective decision making. It was held on 1st of April. The soft skill program that we are organizing, that we are conducting, is being organized by the Training and Placement Cell of the Indian Institute of Technology, BHU Varanasi, and it is being done in association with All India Council for Technical Education, New Delhi, and specifically Atal Academy and Indo Alma World. I'm indeed very happy to inform you all that this program is being witnessed on online platform by our 8,000 plus registered students and other thousands of our students on YouTube. There are good number of students and faculty members from 9,000 plus colleges across our country through All India Council for Technical Education, and they are attending this program using platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm also happy to share that a good number of industry executives are also attending this program. Today's topic is on effective time management, which is very, very important one. How effectively one can manage his or her time. Now you are going to listen from Dr. Manu. In Indian context, particularly in Hindu religion, the time is termed as kal. Kal in Hindi, also in Sanskrit, and it has a lot of importance. And because of its importance or mahatta, it is now how it is said in Hindi or Sanskrit. It is also called as Mahatkal or Mahakal. Mahakal is synonym with Lord Shiva. When you are in trouble, you may find people saying that you should go to Mahakal. Going to Mahakal is nothing but going for proper management of your time. If you want to have bliss of Mahakal, you need to manage your time well. Everybody has the same amount of time, but those who manage their time well have become extraordinary people. If you want to rise, wish to become great, wish to become a person of eminence, and then you need to learn from the likes of Dr. Vora. Dr. Vora, instead of sitting idle and leading a retired life, is still very active and doing so much good for the society, involved in many activities, teaching, research, education, social services, etc. But how so? Because he has mastered the technique of time management. Let me now formally introduce Dr. Moraji itself. His credentials can be seen on the screen. He is member of AICT NEP 2020 Implementation Plan Committee. He is expert peer reviewer, particularly of AICT National Academy of DPs for the session 2021-2022. He is the chairman and president of Business Excellence Incorporated USA since 2000. He has 47 years of leadership experience guiding Fortune 500 companies. He has spent 29 years as adjunct faculty globally in operations management. He has contributed to 680 educational institutions worldwide, delivered 1200 to more than 1200 presentations and published 75 scholarly articles. He has written 50 blog posts on quality management, gave 2 TEDx talks in 2013 in India at IIT BHU, this place itself, and in USA at IIT Chicago. He has designed and delivered soft skill program to over 1 million people. He was appointed Fulbright Specialist by US Department of State from 2016 to 2023. He is serving as the president of Blind Foundation for India from 1989 and is continuing even as of now. And he has raised more than $5.5 million and he has provided this fund for blind people in India. He graduated from this place. He earned his B.Tech degree in chemical engineering and technology from Varanasi, then MS and PhD again in chemical engineering from IIT Chicago. He also has earned MBA degree in marketing management from Keller Graduate School of Management, again in Chicago. He has delivered 48 sessions of AICTE Atal Academy of DPs in 21-22, which is significantly high number. He has PO reviewed 66 AICTE Atal Academy of DPs in 1 year, 2021-2022. He has earned 6 medals for quality and 4 medals for philanthropy during 2000 to 2015. He has earned 60 awards for outstanding professional contributions. Besides that, he has earned 40 awards for lifelong selfless community service. Recently, he earned Certificate of Commitment from World Book of Records, London, UK, and it was in recognition for his social work, and this certificate he earned in 2022. So with this brief introduction, now I invite Dr. Vora to share his thoughts. How is it that one can manage the time very effectively? Dr. Manu Vora ji, please.
Okay, so thank you, Anil Kumar ji, and good evening to all the distinguished people who have joined across India, students, faculties, the team at IIT BHU, and my sincere apology for the glitch in the beginning for not starting on time. And today is the time management topic, and we have missed the window of almost 16 minutes. So we'll talk about that. So visualize a train pulling into Varanasi station exactly at 11 o'clock as scheduled. People get really excited when a train comes on time, so they rush to congratulate the engineer and the guardsman. So engineer accepted the greetings, then said quietly, "I'm here at 11 o'clock, all right, but I'm late by 1 day." So that's the story of time management. You come on time, but if you show up 1 day late, then you have blown the schedule. Now, we are in the global stage, and everywhere outside India, people respect the time to start the meeting on time, end on time, get the work done on time. If we are going to be a global player from the India scene, we need to really respect the time well, manage our time, and as people say, time is money. If you use it wisely, you have done your job well and achieved the success. And also remember a scenario, and here we had a large number of people who were waiting, and we started late, so we have wasted that significant amount of time multiplied by the number of attendees. So you can think of the impact we can create or not create while we are not on time. So with that, I'm going to pick up a little bit speed and start sharing the presentation. And let's see, this is a tricks here, quirks of the Microsoft Team include system audio. Every time I have to click that, and I should be all right. Okay, I hope the first title slide is visible. Can you confirm the title slide is visible?
Yes, it is visible, Manuji.
Okay, thank you. So here is the quick roadmap for this evening. We will quickly run through the session 2 feedback on effective decision making and recap the session. How to get things done. That's essentially the high level view of managing our time. Few quotes on time management. I'll share with you a couple of myths of time management, and we'll dive into internal and external time wasters. We need to know a little bit about the right brain versus left brain, how we manage our time depending on our preferences, and then the real essence of time management in terms of setting the goal, doing the planning, prioritizing our time, scheduling. The biggest issue is meeting management, so we'll spend some extra time on it. And then other components are organizing, delegating, how to say no, specifically how to handle interruptions, avoid procrastination, and how do we do the collaboration. Then the time management summary. And I sincerely request all of you to think about writing down 2 key takeaways from the session, because that's the essence of learning. You are here to learn something new, but you need to pick up at least minimum 2 action items which you will carry it forward. So very quickly, session 2, we had a very good feedback from the attendees at the IIT BHU, our campus, and 96.7% were satisfied or very satisfied. Learned new concepts and idea from the session, the same percentage holds, and at least 95.6% were able to say that they will be able to apply the new concepts and ideas in the study and the work. So we are happy that people are listening and finding values in such program started from the IIT BHU campus. The 5 key takeaways from the effective decision-making sessions were being decisive, timely execution and prioritization, decision-making models, 6 of them we learned, 9 steps to decision-making, a specific article from Harvard Business Review, another article on stop making plans, start making decisions, and Dr. Stephen Covey's time management metrics. So here is the good news. 1 week out for the second session, we have well over 8,300 views combined with the AICTE initial video, revised video, and live streaming from the campus. And the link for the second session is shown here. And session 1 total views, we crossed 25,000 at the AICTE site, and combined with the campus, we are over 26,400. So this is a very gratifying thing that people are finding value of the information being shared. And sincere request is, when you learn something new, think about applying it, because if you don't apply, that knowledge slips away. Now, summary of the last session for the people who were not there. If you want to be a good decision maker, you need to keep in mind that ability determines what you are capable of doing, motivation, how you do it, and attitude determines how well you do it. So key thing is to have a positive attitude, can do, rather than saying, no, I cannot do it. To be effective, you need to engage all 3 H's, heart, emotions, head, ideas and logic, and hence implementation. And leadership ability is to translate the vision into action and actions into next level of vision for decisive decision making. And a very important component we discussed last time was ethical decision making is essential for success of individuals and organizations. And we all need to decide to become the lifelong learners, because then we are adding value to the organization and to ourselves. Just to bring the things in perspective, the soft skills are covered in 6 sessions. Ultimately, if you want to do service to the community through the projects, we need to have leadership, decision-making, time management, teamwork. Then we learn how to do projects well by solving society's problem and adding value for nation building. And critical skills we need to master in 21st century are teamwork, problem solving, and project management. So I want to share with you a brief story of my time at the campus at BHU. which is now IIT BHU. 1964, when I joined in the second year of the 5-year chemical engineering program, that year the number of seats had doubled. So I joined along with 20 friends from Gujarat and Mumbai. So 1/3 of the class came from Western India. And some of those friends were very happy to come first time out of the house, so they were enjoying their time at the campus. That year we had 13 subjects to study, 9-month window, no semester system. And if one fails in one of the 13 subjects, the person has to stay back and repeat the year. Now, fortunately, I had learned some new technique at the campus where my system was such that for the first 8 months, I would do all the studies. And my habit was take one chapter at a time from a course and then continue looking at the first chapter of all 1 through 13 courses and keep marching. And goal was to finish all 13 subjects, nothing left for chance, no options, and complete the studies by the end of the 8th month. Also, I was able to procure the exam questions available for the last 10 years, solve them, and create good notes. So the last month I did not have to study. So that time management thing helped me. Multitasking also was very helpful to me. And in the last month, I would remain more as a consultant on demand, sharing my notes with my friends who had not done much work in the first 8 months. And that is normally the way students spend their time. They are enjoying life, but at the last minute, in the last few weeks, last month, they buckle down. So they will come back and ask difficult questions. That allowed me to focus on the principles and the foundation and underlying discipline about the subject. That not only helped them to clear the exams, but allowed me to do better for myself as well. So when you help others, God creates pathways to help yourself as well. So always think of helping others and manage your time well and be ready. And that's a lesson I will never forget. And that has served me very well throughout my professional and personal life, both working as an internal consultant at AT&T Bell Labs for almost 17 years in quality discipline, and going forward working with other organizations globally. So when I joined AT&T Bell Labs, I took one-day course outside, and the title was How to Get Things Done. That's where I learned, and that was in the year 1984. So the things I learned from that day, one-day seminar, one-day workshop, has stayed with me till to date. And how to get things done, that time management requires setting the goal, prioritizing your time, planning, decision-making, scheduling, saying no, how to organize yourself, how to avoid interruptions and procrastination, how do you manage your meetings, how to delegate, and how to collaborate in the workplace. Sum total of that is the time management. We'll take few quick time management quotes. The first one is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. This time, like old time, is a very good one if we but know what to do with it. Second one is start by doing what is necessary, then what is possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. Third one is with the tongue in cheek. I'm definitely going to take a course on time management just as soon as I can work it into my schedule. And we all know that that will not happen because that's not the priority. The sports coach Harvey Mackay says time is free, but it is priceless. You cannot own it, but you can use it. You cannot keep it, but you can spend it. Once you have lost it, you can never get it back. So remember those words of wisdom. And then from our own Sant Kabir Doha, Kal kare so aaj kare so aap, pal mein pralay hoege, bahuri karoge kab. So it says, if you want to do something tomorrow, do it today. If you want to do something today, do it now, because you never know, something glitch can happen and then you won't be able to finish the task. So time is of essence. Here are a couple of myths of the time management. People think time management is a very complex subject. Not true. Major steps, the foundation of the time management is goal setting, planning, prioritizing, scheduling, and organizing. Secondly, we feel that the activity is good in itself. So being busy is not the same as being effective if our time is spent on low priorities item. So always remember, you need the action, but ultimately the results count. Here is a 80-20 rule of time management. The relationship between the input and output is not balanced. So a 20% of person's effort can generate 80% of the person's results, provided they use that 20% of the time working on the important things. So we need to focus our 20% of the time to get 80% of the work done, which really counts for the organization. I will take a few slides and then stop for interaction. Internal time wasters, if I'm not disciplined, then I'll be fumbling around. If I cannot make the decision to work on item A or item B, then I'm waiting and time is running away. If I'm personally disorganized, then I will be constantly looking for piece of information and unable to find it. This procrastination is a common disease we need to tackle. A tendency to put it off. Sometimes it's due to laziness, sometimes lack of interest, etc. Now, inability to say no will expand on that item. If we have somebody working with us, we need to delegate the work skillfully and develop the delegation skills, because you can't do everything yourself. Lot of time we are at the workplace, but we are daydreaming. Our mind is wandering somewhere else. And a lot of time we worry too much. What it causes is the stress, but it doesn't help you managing your time. So here are some external time wasters. When we are at the workplace or we are doing the study, there is a lot of interruptions coming in, especially mail and email, and with the smartphone, SMS messages, WhatsApp messages coming. If we keep attending to it all the time, when will we do the work? Now, when you are at the work setting, there is office socializing, which is supposed to be short break, about 10-15 minutes. Sometimes it gets into hour. Too many meetings. So I'll hold the further discussion on the future slides coming in. This is the most common waste of time throughout the world for everyone. You get unscheduled visitors. They just knock on the door without taking the appointment. If the work environment is poor, then you are not 100%. When the goals given to you by the immediate supervisor or a manager, they are unclear, then you are unable to focus on what is required to be done. Remember, when you need somebody else's cooperation, now you have to filter in their availability. So dependency issue comes in. And most of the organizations have their own bureaucratic red tape that needs to be broken. And there could be few other factors which you can think of. So the idea of sharing this internal and external time waster was to raise the awareness about them. Once you know about it, then you need to take action, not to get sort of distracted by them, and manage your time effectively and achieve the results you are set out to do day in and day out. The last item before we take a short break for the interactions. So there are two types of people who have the tendency for the right brain side or the left brain. So let's begin with the left brain. So all the people who are here, most of them with the engineering background, including my own. I started out as a 100% left brain. For left brain people, they see things either black or white. And for them, the time flows in a monochromic order. Do one thing and go on to another. Now, on the other hand, there are right brain people. So they are able to see options at every turn. For them, it's never black or white. They can see through in the gray area as well. And these are more like artistic type of people. And for them, time is polychromic. They can do many things, and many things are happening simultaneously, and they can handle it. So personally, as I mentioned, I started out as an engineer, 100% left brain. Over the years, I've shifted in the middle. I'm not a right brain person. I'm not very artistic, but at least try to keep the balance. So understand the other aspects. Now, there is nothing wrong or right in terms of the right brain or left brain. This is how we are set up by the creator, and that's our tendency. But we have to make use of our tendency to get the right things done. So at this point, I'm going to stop sharing and let's have some quick interaction in terms of either questions, comments, or something unclear. So let's clarify that. Anil Kumarji, back to you. Anil Kumarji, back to you.
Yes, Dr. Vora.
Yeah. So are there any questions or comments, please, for this segment?
So far, yes, there are questions.
Sure. And then we'll get it from Ghazal Lalji.
So one he is asking, in case this is a common thing that you can find among the students, there is a lack of discipline. So what can we do to make ourselves disciplined for a longer time? That's number one.
Yeah, so let's take one question at a time. It will be much easier. Thank you. Yeah, so I think we all have to take a personal call. It's your call to be disciplined, and you are the one in charge of disciplining yourself. So we can learn from people who are successful, study their habits, and see what you can do to discipline yourself. And let me give you my personal experience. 64 to 68, we had a very rigorous schedule. Get up at 6 in the morning. By 7:30 after breakfast, get ready after breakfast in the department. 12 o'clock, we get it 1 hour off, come back, have a lunch, and back into the department between 1 to 4. And then coming back into the hostel, about half an hour nap, take a quick snack and start studying and finish all the assignment, break for dinner around 7:30 for half an hour, and go on until midnight. So that was a rigorous routine, 6 in the morning to 12 midnight. And that discipline has helped me very well because you need to be ready. And the challenges are we are studying some state-of-the-art information. Unless we are disciplined how to manage our time, how can we learn new things and do better in those new areas? So discipline is an individual choice, and we need to keep cultivating it, and it takes time. Only thing is you have to decide. You want to be disciplined, then you force your mind to do it. Next question, please. You are mute.
So indecisiveness also kills the time. The question is, how do we counter it?
Yeah. Yeah, so decisiveness, again, we went through that module last time, effective decision making. It's a practice. We need to first understand what's the foundation, what's the basics. And let me put it, none of these topics we are discussing are rocket science. They are all common sense. somehow we make those common sense item uncommon in hustle and bustle of the world. We forget the essence, we forget the basics and go after all the fancy things. And then we are not successful because we don't follow the discipline. Things which are important. And we'll be sharing some of those ideas on what is important versus urgent again to reinforce that. One more question and then we'll go to Kedar.
Very interesting question. Point is, how do we get rid of procrastination? This again kills time.
Yeah. So I will suggest let's hold that thought. There is a one slide on avoiding procrastination. So we'll definitely cover it in the later part of this presentation. Thank you. Kedar Lalji, any questions? I hope he was able to join. Is he on the platform? Yeah, he is on the presenter list. Kedar Lalji, if you have any questions from AICTE side, kindly unmute and ask the question, please.
Just now you have covered this topic, internal time waster. So how can we stop ourselves? How can we save ourselves from these internal time wasters?
Yeah. I think my simple suggestion is first be aware that internal time wasters are there. So awareness is the beginning of finding a solution. Once you know that these are the internal time wasters where if you are not organized, if you are not disciplined, you are just waiting to decide what to work on it. So try to overcome those tendencies. And this is where good news is you are in charge 100%. You can control that for yourself, do well, and avoid those internal time wasters. So there is no silver bullet. You have to take one at a time, whichever internal time wasters you are observing. Make sure that you overcome that and you go past it and make sure you are on the right track to work on the right things, the important things. I think Kedar Lalji is unmuted himself, so let's see if he has any questions. Yeah, go ahead.
सर कई बार ना टाइम मैनेजमेंट नहीं होता चाहते हुए भी, और आपने पूरा टू डू लिस्ट बना लिया, फिर कोई इमरजेंसी आ जाता है, उस टाइम क्या करें?
Yeah, so interesting question.
दोनों वर्क प्रायोरिटी है, वो भी प्रायोरिटी है और ये भी प्रायोरिटी है.
Yeah. My simple suggestion will be when you are working on two things either equal priority, at that point take about 2 minutes of time to check back with your immediate manager and see which is of the highest priority. You can only work on one. You can't work on two. Even in multitasking, you have to focus on one thing at a time, get it done, and immediately go to the next thing. So getting that guidance about what is the highest priority, you want to tackle that first, and then complete it and immediately jump to the next highest priority. That would be my thought, and that's what I've done working at AT&T Bell Labs, and I found it very successful because management takes the call, then they are in the loop, and you get to work on the right thing. So that's why you are not wasting time deciding between the two. Okay, one more question, Kedari Lalji. अच्छे question आ रहे हैं.
सर हिंदुस्तान में बहुत सारी चीजें हैं टाइम मैनेजमेंट को लेकर, जैसे एक मीटिंग है पर कोई वीआईपी बहुत लेट आता है या कोई पॉलिटिशियन बहुत लेट आता है, तो डजंट लुक नाइस. हाउ वी कैन मैनेज एंड हाउ वी कैन से द थिंग्स विद द राइट मैनर?
Yeah. Now this is a very touchy subject, and my comments will not be appropriate in this forum. But as I mentioned up front, that think of 200 people in the audience. If the person arrives half an hour late, how much time have we wasted? 100 hours, right? That 100 hours of productivity loss combined, that can add up to all meetings which are starting late. and all those things which needs to be done on a timely basis. So you start late, we end late, people time is wasted. And then what happens? The outcome is if you are in the work setting and things are not happening on time, you have to stay back after 5 o'clock, keep working, work-life balance is disturbed, or you have to take the work home. And I've seen even the executives at AT&T Bell Labs, they will take a full briefcase with them at home to study at night and take care of things because they were busy in many meetings. And I'll share with you that effectiveness of meeting is stopping the productivity. The meetings are generally not very effective. We'll go into a little bit more depth because this is one of the biggest source of waste of time. So I'll leave it at that. Any quick one question, then we'll keep moving. Anything else, Gidarlal ji?
He said to higher up or elder people's, sir, you can manage it. Can we say, sir?
Yeah, and I think this is where we need to have upward delegation. We need to be working with our senior people because a lot of time they've come through the old ways of doing things and that's why they are successful, so they are not able to change. So I'll give you one example. So when we started this quality improvement initiative at my campus here at AT&T Bell Labs in Naperville, we had 10,000 people. And this discipline for quality planning, quality management, quality execution, we needed it sorely because our customers were unhappy. So the vice president made a decision that our division, switching business unit, will have the quality management process in place. So to start the process, I worked with my director and he, Mr. John Dalator and myself will go out and learn all the fundamental things about quality, pro expert like Dr. Deming, Dr. Jiran, etc. Take large number of courses and distill the information and bring it back into the organization. And in turn, the director will work with the vice president to coach, give the guidance that these are the things we need to do and secure proper support. So by keeping the management chain, the leadership chain in the loop, we are very successful in launching the effective quality planning and then implementation phase. We invited even Dr. Juran for 2 days to be with us, to guide us how to do it well. So this is where I think we need to be the catalyst of change. Take our senior leaders with us, show them the opportunities and the possibilities. And if we are willing to learn, and if the executives you find are supportive to learn, many good things can happen. Because without leadership support at the organization level, you know it and we all know it, nothing happens. And that's where I think I can put it in perspective. The leadership taken by the ICT chairman is highly appreciated. And the same thing, Anil Kumarji's leadership at the TPO, at the training and placement cell, that speaks volume because he has been able to create the leadership team of about 100 students who come together every year. A new team gets chartered, they learn, deliver, and get the best results in terms of placement. So that's the decisions you have taken, Anil Kumarji. That's the time management and your skill to develop more leaders. That is much appreciated. So with that, we will get back into the presentation and thank you for the interaction time. And we'll restart the session here in terms of the slides. Okay, back to the session here. Now, I'm sure some of you would remember at the second session on the effective decision making, we talked about using these SMART goals. Same thing applies in managing time as well. So the first aspect is a goal setting for effective time management. we should always remember the SMART word. The SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So we need to set and achieve time management goals. So if you are throwing the dart, make sure you are hitting the yellow area, the bullseye. Just 1 second, disappeared. And lucky I have to click the sound box because we will have a YouTube coming up. Next item I want to bring in is managing time. We need to understand the importance of planning. So we are getting into the planning phase of time management, and this is where we can learn from Dr. Deming's cycle. I mentioned in the first session, Dr. Deming along with Dr. Juran were sent by the US government to Japan to help them rebuild their industrial economy, and they taught them quality improvement, quality management, process improvement, etc. They learn it very well, and they develop the finest electronics and automobiles in the world. So Dr. Deming's cycle has 4 components: plan, do, study, and act. Initially, it was plan, do, check, and act. Dr. Deming did not like the connotation for check, which means inspection. So in later years, he says, let's replace check with study. And the guidance is any activity we undertake, including time management, we need 10% excellent plan coupled with 90% flawless execution. Interesting thing to remember that planning without execution is futile, but execution without planning could be fatal. So a lot of time we start getting into the action mode without doing any plan. So we are shooting in the dark. We don't have a clear path. And other times we are just spending time on planning and keep polishing it and then forget the execution. So keep in mind, both of them are extremely critical and important. So in terms of the planning, here are some good points to remember. That when you are planning your time management and how much time you will be spending, you need to visualize at the upfront what will be the end result when the day is over, and if you have accomplished the most important item, what it will look like to manage your goal. Estimate the time required by breaking the whole into subtasks. So this is where we can use work breakdown structure from the project management. You take the highest level and keep decomposing it into task and subtask, and each subtask you have to assign a specific time so that some of those subtasks and tasks will complete the full issue you need to focus and complete. So develop the schedule for each of the subtasks, continue to check progress again your time estimate. Because keep in mind, estimate is an estimate. It can never be 100% right. You have to keep adjusting it as needed based on the outcome as you progress in the day. And keep Uncle Murphy in mind. So always allow and anticipate for possible problems. So what Murphy's law says that when you don't anticipate problem will knock on your door. So be prepared, have a contingency plan, have some risk management. So planning, just to reinforce, 10% excellent plan and 90% flawless execution is the key for success. And if you fail to plan, you are planning for a failure given. So plan your work and continue to work your plan. Now you will remember this familiar slide from this effective decision making session 2, that we need to prioritize our time for the day and always use 4 buckets. Things you have to do, put it in the first bucket, do. Things you can delegate to others when you have people supporting you. Third, you have to do it, but you are busy on a very specific issue, so you delay it and dump. That is, most of the things thrown at you, you should not be wasting any time on it. By doing this prioritization, what you have done is remove the clutter from your daily routine, and you are highly focused. going to work on the prioritized item only. Prioritizing, focus on important things first. Address the urgent and get them out of the way. And start with accomplishing what you can early by focusing on the important things and keep building the confidence. So I'm sharing with you the Eisenhower box, which is a slightly similar version of the Dr. Covey's time management metrics. On the y-axis, not important, important. On the x-axis, urgent and not urgent. So similar to Dr. Covey's time management metrics, top right quadrant is the most important. That's where we need to spend 90 to 95% of our time. And this is where you do planning, training, working with all the stakeholders, taking some rest, recharge your battery, etc. On the top left, question from Gidarlal ji, important and urgent. This is firefighting, 5 to 10% of your time only. And as I made a comment last time, there are some clever people in an organization who will start the fire. They will come in, rush in with the fire extinguishers and put the fires out. For top leaders who are disconnected with the work at the ground level, they will treat them as heroes and recognize them. But if you really want to recognize people in the top right quadrant working on important but not urgent things. Bottom two quadrants should not have any place at the organization workplaces. Now, prioritizing, develop the plan. Now, this is a very important slide, so I will suggest all the young friends who are on the program, all the faculties, develop your plan on an annual, monthly, and weekly basis, and not the deadline on your plan, because a plan without specific deadline is just a paper tiger. So you can continue to make a to-do list on a daily basis and prioritize and reprioritize your daily list by putting the important, not the urgent thing first on the list. Because whatever you have on the first at the top of the list, you start on it, accomplish it at the end, check it off, then you will be satisfied that you spent your time wisely, and that will give you good value for work you're supposed to be doing, and continue to work on that plan. I'll tell you, this habit of to-do list came during my time at the campus in 1964. As I mentioned, the rigorous schedule, going to sleep at midnight, last 5 minutes, I'll prepare the clothes for the next day, including all the things I needed to get ready in the morning, all in place. So routine was established. That way I'm not fumbling around in the next day morning at 6 o'clock. I know exactly where things are, take care of that, and be on time at the department at 7:30. Okay, now we are going to listen to a short YouTube on time management, how to manage your time effectively according to the machines. So all the friends who are from the computer science area will really appreciate it, and others we can learn. So let me start the video.
In the summer of 1997, NASA's Pathfinder spacecraft landed on the surface of Mars and began transmitting incredible, iconic images back to Earth. But several days in, something went terribly wrong. The transmissions stopped. Pathfinder was, in effect, procrastinating, keeping itself fully occupied, but failing to do its most important work. What was going on? There was a bug, it turned out, in its scheduler. Every operating system has something called the scheduler that tells the CPU how long to work on each task before switching, and what to switch to. Done right, computers move so fluidly between their various responsibilities, they give the illusion of doing everything simultaneously. but we all know what happens when things go wrong. This should give us, if nothing else, some measure of consolation. Even computers get overwhelmed sometimes. Maybe learning about the computer science of scheduling can give us some ideas about our own human struggles with time. One of the first insights is that all the time you spend prioritizing your work is time you aren't spending doing it. For instance, let's say when you check your inbox, you scan all the messages, choosing which is the most important. Once you've dealt with that one, you repeat. Seems sensible, but there's a problem here. This is what's known as a quadratic time algorithm. With an inbox that's twice as full, these passes will take twice as long, and you'll need to do twice as many of them. This means 4 times the work. The programmers of the operating system Linux encountered a similar problem in 2003. Linux would rank every single one of its tasks in order of importance, and sometimes spent more time ranking tasks than doing them. The programmer's counterintuitive solution was to replace this full ranking with a limited number of priority buckets. The system was less precise about what to do next, but more than made up for it by spending more time making progress. So with your emails, insisting on always doing the very most important thing first could lead to a meltdown. Waking up to an inbox 3 times fuller than normal could take replying in chronological order or even at random. Surprisingly, sometimes giving up on doing things in the perfect order may be the key to getting them done. Another insight that emerges from computer scheduling has to do with one of the most prevalent features of modern life: interruptions. When a computer goes from one task to another, it has to do what's called a context switch, bookmarking its place in one task, moving old data out of its memory, and new data in. Each of these actions comes at a cost. The insight here is that there's a fundamental trade-off between productivity and responsiveness. Getting serious work done means minimizing context switches. But being responsive means reacting anytime something comes up. These two principles are fundamentally in tension. Recognizing this tension allows us to decide where we want to strike that balance. The obvious solution is to minimize interruptions. The less obvious one is to group them. If no notification or email requires a response more urgently than once an hour, say, then that's exactly how often you should check them. No more. In computer science, this idea goes by the name of interrupt coalescing. Rather than dealing with things as they come up, oh, the mouse was moved, a key was pressed, more of that file downloaded, the system groups these interruptions together based on how long they can afford to wait. In 2013, interrupt coalescing triggered a massive improvement in laptop battery life. This is because deferring interruptions lets a system check everything at once, then quickly re-enter a low-power state. As with computers, so it is with us. Perhaps adopting a similar approach might allow us users to reclaim our own attention and give us back one of the things that feels so rare in modern life: rest. Are you interested in improving your own time and task management skills? If so, we highly recommend you check out Algorithms to Live By: The Computer Science of Human Decisions. You can download an audio version of the book for free at audible.com/TEDEd, and every free trial created encourages Audible to continue supporting TEDEd's nonprofit mission.
Interesting way we can pick up from this short YouTube and learn how to focus on taking action by doing the certain things when needed, and do the proper learning from the video. We are open for a few quick questions. Anil Kumarji, if any.
It comes from your last slide. You said like maybe when you come to the work, you decide the priority, and then you said like maybe you should take those tasks which are important but not urgent, and that's what you said, like should be demanding your attention first.
Yeah.
Why is not urgent?
Yeah.
We think that
Because-
maybe it should be important and urgent.
Yeah, So the difference between the two is important and not urgent, because in the long term that will give you the value. By just working on important and urgent only, top left quadrant, you are wasting time on firefighting only. And if you keep doing firefighting, that means you are not working on the fundamental things, the planning, training, working with your stakeholders, building relationship. When good results come, you have to take some time out to recharge your battery by exercise, doing some celebration, etc. So in the long term, if you keep working on firefighting, all you are doing, you are reactive to the time, not proactive. So proactively, we have to manage our time on important but not urgent. Next question.
Thank you, but we don't have any question right now.
Okay, Gidar Lalji, one quick question.
सर कितना ही टाइम मैनेजमेंट कर लो, कई बार फिर भी बहुत सारी दिक्कतें हो जाती है. सारी प्रायोरिटी रख ली, सारे अर्जेंट टू डू लिस्ट बना ली, उसके बावजूद भी कुछ ऐसा होता है जिसमें दूसरे लोग इन्वॉल्व होता है, उनका आप क्या कर सकते हो?
Yeah.
उनको
Yeah,
अपनी
so that's a dependency issue.
Yeah.
And that's where I think you have to plan a little bit extra. So if you are the one doing everything yourself on a given task, subtask to finish it in a given day, then you don't have that issue of dependency. But when you need somebody's help, rule of thumb is don't show up at the last minute, look for somebody's help. You need to think through, plan that segment of the work where you will need somebody else's help, inform them early, get their commitment, because they have their own priorities also. So schedule that in ahead of time and look for their support so that your work gets done. And ultimately, we have to keep in mind at the workplace, all of us should be thinking about making the target in terms of the goal set for the task and for the project. Each one of us doing small thing here and there, task and subtasks, when put together, will bring the conclusion on the given project, on the given team's goal and achieving the results. So each of those items are important, but it's your foresight and planning ability to see when you will need the second piece, which is dependent on person B, inform them early, get their concurrence, and hope that they will not be caught in a glitch at the last minute, and they will deliver. So if you don't do the plan, result is expected. You will not get that cooperation at the last minute. And I'll have a very interesting one slide coming up on that as well. So let's hold the thought for it. Any other quick question before we keep moving?
Sir, मैं अपना एक चीज थोड़ा share करना चाहूँगा. When you are doing regular meditation, things help in time management and planning. And priority. In meditation, you can see the infinite things actually, and things happen like a planning.
Yeah.
Automatically, it happens planning. It is a priority, first priority, second priority, third priority, and whom to say, what to say, when to say.
Yes.
So what I'm feeling last 22 years, meditation helped a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what happens is it clears the clutter from your mind. So you are having a good listening to your own self. Yeah. And when you listen to yourself with all the hustles and bustles of the world, you shut your mind from the extra noise. And now you are focused on only thing that matters in life. And when we go into that stage through meditation, you are getting to the essence rather than focus on the negatives and all the things which creates worries and you have no control on it. So whatever you can control, manage it well. Whatever you can't control, leave it to the God. Yeah. God is there to take care of the rest of the stuff. Yeah. Okay, I think in the interest of time, allow me to continue sharing and then we can take more questions as we go. And there are no more videos, so we can be safe not to click the sound box. Okay, now comes the scheduling part. So this is where we need to manage the realistic deadlines for a task or a subtask. and particularly keep in mind the dependency issue we just talked about. Structure adequate time for all stages of the work, review and revise often. Third bullet is very important. You are in charge, not the schedule. So examine your schedule, be realistic about what you can accomplish. Don't try to juggle too many things, because when you take on too many things at the same time, you are setting yourself up for failure. And very important to remember to find a dead time during the day. At that time, schedule meetings, take the phone calls, and get the mundane stuff during that dead time. Now comes the very important topic of meetings. So I'm going to take a little extra time to talk about this issue of meetings. So in general, and I want to refer to a special book by Patrick Lencioni with the title, which is Death by Meeting, is the title of the book. Interestingly, Patrick Lencioni has written about 10 books. All of them are leadership fables. They are about 200 pages, 2-3 pages, and with the large font, chapter will be over. And at the end of the book, he presents a workable model which you can apply right away in your practical life. And all his topics are very, very down to the earth and very interesting and helpful at the workplace. So according to the book, Patrick Lencioni says, world over, most of the meetings held are on an average ineffective. That's a waste of time. And by the way, they are boring also. You are not only wasting your time, but you are getting bored sitting on those meetings. And I think that's a common feelings we all have experienced time and time again. Unfortunately, we have not taken any lesson out of it. So let me suggest some good ideas which can help you to overcome those difficulties. So first thing is question the need and frequency of meetings. There's a common tendency that you want to just call a meeting without much planning, and then people are just chatting away and wasting time, consuming a lot of food, coffee, tea, and food is eaten. At the end of the meeting, nothing much is accomplished, and then the new meeting is already planned. So that's not good. So in general, when you want to take a critical decision and where you need to have people whose ideas and opinions you need to have, then only call a meeting. Otherwise, write a brief email, have a short memo sent out, or put it on intranet or internet so people can take care of the situation. And if you don't need the meetings, don't call for the meeting, because meetings are not free. Just take care of or think about when you call a meeting, number of people coming, the time they will be spending, the real estate where you are sitting in the meeting room, proportion of the cost for that period of meeting time. Also, the work that is not accomplished when they are meeting. So real work helping customers, solving organization problems, that is left on the side. So opportunity missed and your precious time wasted. That is the cost of poor meetings. Always request agenda in advance, and the person who will be doing a planning for a meeting, there's a rule of thumb. For 1 hour effective meeting, on an average, the planner should spend 10 hours of planning time, contacting the right people, getting their input, creating a package. So when the meeting happens, during the meeting, key people who are taking the decisions, they have all the details at their fingertip, and they don't have to fumble around and look for information. Everything should be given. I'll give you one example. So we were consulting for a financial trading entity, part of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, on paying doctors, nursing home, and hospitals bills. So that system was electronic, And most of the things were fine, but there was about 10% waste in the system where unnecessary procedure would have been done. So those claims would be held up for further review by the medical staff. So those agencies were asked by the government to get a ISO certification. So my friend was senior and IT expert, myself quality expert. We teamed up and worked with 3 different Medicare contractors to develop a quality management system and prepare them for ISO 9000 registration. And we train them in reviewing the quality management system on a monthly basis. Normally it requires only yearly review, but to train them, we put together a 1-hour meeting for 7 top executives across 4 states, 800 people. So for that 1-hour meeting between my partner and myself, we'll be spending 80 hours of time to package all the details about the processes we have defined, metrics with the results, with the color coding, green on target, yellow likely to miss the goal, red metrics have missed the target altogether, and share those information with the executives so they can take the right call to improve the processes. So very, very important to understand the role of the planner for the meeting. Next, include only the right participants. You don't need to invite your friends for the sake of inviting. Bring in the people who have the right skills, who have the right knowledge about the subject, who can shed light and add value. Have a facilitator to keep the discussion on target. And generally, the rule of thumb is take one topic, 60 to 90 minutes max, and put it to rest. And keep the record of the agenda, decisions, designated follow-up, that is meeting minutes, and send it out in 24 hours. I've seen best practice where a person who is a scribe, note taker, will take notes at the end of the session, at the end of the meeting. In the last 5 minutes, we'll review all the action items for clarity. And before everybody leaves the meeting, he or she will send out the meeting notes to everyone who attended and few other people who needs to be on the know. That way, you are not spending your time waiting to receive the meeting minutes. So normally what happens in the organization, if it is a weekly regular meetings happening every week, meetings are done, meeting notes will arrive on the day of the next meeting. Nobody has got any chance to work on any action items, and that was a waste from the first meeting. Maximize email collaboration by sharing the documents and work between the meetings. And think of at the front end, PAL system, purpose, agenda, and limit. Start on time, end on time. And during the meeting, if you have done good planning, ensure equal participation and follow up, that is following up on the action item, PPF. So if you combine PAL and PPF, then you have a better chance of successful meetings. And one of the rule of thumb is that if you hold a meeting and there is not a single action item coming out, that means that meeting was a waste. It was not needed. So that's a proof that the meeting you held was unproductive. Few quick comments. As you go higher up in the organization, top leaders end up spending 90 to 95% of their time in the meetings. And just imagine if those meetings are not productive, what a loss it causing to the organization, because they are paid big amount of money. And if their time is wasted, that is a loss to the organization. So keep in mind, meetings are the deadliest thing happening all over the world, and we are all getting into it and not take any action. So avoid time waster meeting. Make sure it's a working meeting with a definite agenda. So I had a student from Honeywell in my MBA program here. He says within Honeywell, there was a standing rule, 48 hours in advance for an important meeting, the agenda is not shared, you are excused not to attend that meeting. Nobody will question you. So agenda is very important. And we talked about if the issue can be solved or decision can be reached without the meeting, use that email, internet, message, memo, etc. And definitely start on time and end on time. Little guidance on telephone meetings. Keep the call short and keep standing while the call is coming. So if you sit down, there is a tendency to chat away and work on unnecessary things and discuss that. So either you call, or when somebody calls during the work time, announce the goal for the call. Don't keep your feet up on the table because you are too comfortable, and keep something in mind next you are going to work on so that you can finish the call, finish the objective or the goal of the call, and keep smiling. That smile is contagious over the telephone line. So these are some simple guidance points. If you practice it, you will definitely get better at it. Now here comes the shocking news, the findings for the meetings from the Harvard Business Review. So meetings are the Scrooge of modern business life, consuming 62 hours per month of employees' time on an average. And the kicker is a full half of which is estimated to be wasted. So translated in real words, 40% of our working time is spent in meetings 2 days out of a week. Half of that 1 day per week is total waste. So what we are doing is we are working on 4 out of 5 days of the week. We are physically there, but the effectiveness is only for 4 days. So we are not firing on all the cylinders, and that is coming with the suboptimal performance for the organization. And this is what we need to remember. And I generally keep one simple rule for myself. I get called to many meetings, many programs. I just ask the question, is my presence necessary? What value am I going to add, and what's the agenda? If I see I'm going to waste my time, I just politely tell them I'm busy with other stuff, and at this point I cannot join. And that has served me well to remain highly focused and do the right things rather than get into the things where it's total waste of time and waste of productivity. Few more guidance point, meeting minute sample. You need to create a 1-page meeting summary, and this sample was shared with the young team working on this as a tremendous support for our program from the campus, 7 members between 3rd year and 4th year. So date you met, time, place, number of attendees, key discussion bullet form, key decision bullet form, and action item table. Number sequentially from meeting to meeting, date open, what the issue was, who is the person assigned to it, and when it's expected. In general, you don't know. The resolution may take more, but what is the expectation when it should be done? By having a simple meeting minutes and keeping track of it, and next meeting you start with the action item review. Now, I'm not sure how many of you think about evaluating your meeting, because you have spent at least say 1 hour meeting, 10 people, that's a 10 hours of time. You need to take a quick pulse. Did the thing work well today? 1 or 2 bullet did not work well. And what changes will you make if those are the standing meetings? And following up on the example I shared earlier with the 1 hour meeting for the executives, we asked them to fill out this form, and summarizing that, we started working on 1 or 2 important items from their perspective. So the subsequent meetings, they were taken aback that, oh, somebody has collected the information and they are taking action. So purpose of these surveys and questionnaire is not to collect the data and look good and do fancy charts. The purpose of the survey collection of the data is to take action for improvement. And that fundamental things generally we miss. We get carried away doing lots of fancy graphs and charts, but don't understand what the real purpose of the survey we have done. So at this point, again, stop for a brief minute, and let's try to take any quick questions, particularly on the meeting, and then we'll get into the last segment. Anil Kumar ji.
It's not related to meeting, it's a general question. these are the questions coming up from the student. They say that, as you said, we have to make our daily, weekly, and monthly plans, but usually we end up having a task uncompleted, and that task will hamper all other schedules. So, how we should tackle this problem?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the suggestion is try to keep a daily schedule. And as we discussed, keep the important items on your daily schedule, keep clearing the deck every day. And if you are not done everything, important things you have to do today, make sure it gets done tomorrow, plus other important things you need to work on the day too. So by doing it systematically day on it, day to day, you will not be sort of coming into a problem where things get accumulated and things are not getting done. Then you get demoralized also because you are falling behind, you are backlog there, that can hamper your productivity. So simple request, focus on things on a daily basis, accomplish best effort, put the best effort and accomplish important things on a day-to-day basis. Okay, one more question.
Some of the time, what happens, you are not the person deciding the timing of the meeting itself. That was not chartered out, and now maybe suddenly you are called to the meeting, and yes, you have to attend the meeting, and because you are going to attend the meeting, it is going to disturb your schedule. So what these students have to say that some of the time we do not have control in on the meeting itself, so we end up wasting our most efficient hours. Some of the time meeting is scheduled during those hours which are more productive. You said like maybe it should be held typically in this time.
Yeah, yeah. Now this is a definitely an important question. So what you need to be giving feedback to the people who are calling the meeting. First, if you call a meeting of say 7 people, ensure that all 7 are available and then only hold the meeting for the right amount of time, not for a long time, because depending on the situation you are trying to cover, keep it short meetings. And as I mentioned, a lot of time those meetings are not even necessary. Sending an email to get people to sort out their task and subtask, and we have been using some of that as you have witnessed for our team here. That's the one way to keep making progress rather than get into the meetings, waste time, and your productive time is wasted. So that will be my suggestion. Speak up. Don't just take things when it comes that way, because person has no idea who is available. They will just schedule the meeting without clearing the deck. Now I'll tell you, in the workplace, most of the scheduling, they can see who is open at that time through the open calendar system within the company, within the organization. Then only they schedule the meeting when those people are shown open for that window, and they are communicated also that this important meeting, please attend. Yeah. One last question, please, Kumarji.
There are no question, but there is a suggestion. Typically, when students are asked to attend the meeting, and
Yeah.
actually they are quite comfortable in attending the meeting which are scheduled after their regular class hours, and that should
Yeah.
not create any problem. So the
Yeah.
administration also, when they are going to have a meeting, they should not look into the convenience of only themselves, but also into the convenience of the students.
Yes, all stakeholders' convenience must be kept in mind. Very good point. Okay, thank you. Gidarlal ji, any quick comment, question on meetings? Then we
Just if a senior person is wasting time in meeting, what we should do?
Yeah, so I think this is about awareness, right? And my suggestion is, when you train your executives, coach them about important things which is stopping their productivity, they will be thankful at the end. And I saw that happening all the way to the vice president of our switching business unit. So I was working as an engineer at the totem pole, right at the lowest level, but I was the expert in quality management. So if there is a issue about quality, vice president will pick up the phone and call me directly. And he believed in getting to the right people, finding the solution and put it in action. And of course, he will inform the line chain of command in the loop that this thing has happened. So if you know there is a issue, I think we all owe it to our organization, our obligation to speak up that these meetings we are holding is not adding any value. So should we examine how do we make them effective? So have the agenda, have the right people, manage the time, start on time, end on time, and preserve executives' time. And I'll tell you one secret. In large organization, meetings happen by calling the executive secretary. You get on the top leader's time by arranging the meeting, working with the executive secretaries. You somehow convince this important. So you are on the meeting slot. But if this thing keep on happening, executives have no idea what's going to happen in the meeting. And if they are not given the proper briefing, not given the proper material, they cannot be prepared and decisions are not taken. So this is where I think we all need to do extra effort to help our executives to do the right thing. And I firmly believe, and I've practiced that throughout my life at AT&T Bell Labs, that unless you speak up, you are not adding any value. You may not be appreciated at that time, but in the end, organization will benefit. So you need to take charge and you need to be the catalyst for change. Okay, back.
Manu, if you
Yeah,
permit me, I would like to share my experiences also with Dr.
yes,
Girdhai Lalji.
please.
Whenever I get a call from the director during the working hours, naturally the PS of the director will call me. I'll say, is it very, very urgent? Demanding even leaving the class. If not, then I'll finish my class and then I'll come. So now anytime now I'm called, people just generally check whether I'm free or not. That's number one. Number two, when I was with Ispat Industries Limited, it's a company which is owned by younger brother of Alan Mittal. When we start the day, all the group members of Six Sigma Cell, I was the executive head of that Six Sigma Cell, will just meet over a cup of tea. So in case that tea takes 5 minutes, over 5 minutes, all the important issues are to be discussed and finished off. Correct. So that is what was my simple way of working. In the morning time itself, we set the goal, like, and then we go ahead. Like in case something is to be revised, we do it, and then yes, after that we are happy. Everybody's on the job. There's nothing like firefighting. So yes.
Yeah. And it reminds.
Thank you, Anil sir. Good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, it reminds me one more story. So AT&T Vice President Bernie Suggestator has written a book called Quality is Personal, in which he described the incident where he was having his immediate staff meeting, and normally he found out that he was the one who was the last person coming late. As a result, everybody was delayed and things were not happening. So he wrote in this book, Quality is Personal, to create a personal checklist of things which are important from the company point of view, 5, 6 items, and things which are important from the personal life, 3, 4 items. So total no more than 10 items, and set a goal for each of those items, like attending meeting. If you are late by 2 seconds, you put a ding for yourself that you missed the target. So this is more like a Six Sigma counting the defects. Now what happened, because he was keeping this checklist, and in the first time when he looked at all the defects he had created between professional and personal, there were well over 200 defects for that week. So he started changing his behavior. He started coming in 10 minutes early to have the meeting. Because of him, all his staff started keeping checklists. They all started coming 10 minutes early, and the meeting would be complete in 8 minutes. So 2 minutes before the real meeting was to start, they've accomplished the work for the day, which Anil Kumarji just mentioned. It was a quick stand-up meeting to inform everyone what's on their plate and what are the dependency, and then disperse. So the outcome is, by having awareness about what causes you to come late, you change your behavior. And when you come early as a boss, others will come in early as well. So that's an interesting way of keeping track of the defects you are creating. Okay, very good. I'll get back into the presentation. The last segment, please. Organizing allows you to do well by doing a to-do list in a priority order. This is another nugget. So we deal with our paperwork and email many times during the day, during the week. Keep a system where you are going to deal with it once only and use stage filing method. So you can always create a folder, subfolder, etc. using on the computer. Use the technology wisely, organize your workspace, and manage your calendar by not doing double booking. Just 1 second, I have to reshare. And make sure that you are not double booking yourself. Delegation. So as we mentioned that if you have people reporting to you, you need to start delegating, and if you can eliminate, do that first. Delegate appropriately, gradually, and strategically by giving clear and concrete goal, deadlines, and consequences. Just give the objectives, the end post, not the procedures. So macro management, not micromanagement. Communicate very clearly and put it in writing when you are delegating. Tell the relative importance of the task. Give support and credit when the good work happens. And the time you are investing in delegating will have a future payoff. So here you cannot to your goals and recognize your limits. So metaphor I want to share is you are sitting down at a lunch or a dinner. There are a lot of favorite delicacies prepared and the person is serving you, you want to eat more. Your plate is full, you are almost full. If more things are put on the plate, can you finish it? Absolutely not. And that's the story of life. You have your daily schedule priority assigned, two important items you need to finish before the day is out. And somebody, generally the bosses come in and they say, can you do this at the last minute? So at that time, you have to really take time out and discuss with the immediate manager, supervisor that, say, I'm working on these two important items. The item you have brought up, is it going to override them? I will be happy to do it, but if it can wait, let me finish these two because that has an impact on the ongoing project where it's needed today. So you have to be honest and vocal why you cannot do it, and don't take on more things than you can accomplish. You are letting the other person down by accepting it, fully knowing that you are unable to complete it because your plate is overflowing. Handling interruptions. So when you are on a crucial project and you have to meet the deadline, make yourself inaccessible. So if you are in a workplace, either in a cubicle, put a note outside your cubicle, or if you have a room outside the room, put a note. Even on your email, put a message that this week I'm busy on a special project, and try to be polite but direct and give them option to set up the additional meeting when you are done on your critical project, and always manage your self-interruptions. Avoiding procrastination. This is the question I think had come up earlier. So doing things at the last minute is much more expensive than just before the last minute. And rule of thumb, nobody works best under pressure. And interesting thing to keep in mind is the emergency on your part does not become urgency on someone else's part, including the bosses and the top managers who are coming in to get their work done at the last minute. Deadlines are really important. You have to establish yourself. And a very critical way to avoid procrastination is make a list of all the things you have been avoiding. prioritize them and decide to clear one item a day until you're caught up with the backlog. And don't try to be a perfectionist, because then you are just spending time doing things again and again. Collaboration in the workplace, even during the study, and I'll tell you, the time I was spending at the campus, most of the learning was solo. There were no team projects. So I sincerely request those educators who are listening, team-based projects, problem solving is extremely critical skill. They need to be imparted. And if they inculcate those skills, they'll be more successful in the workplace. So making good use of the ideas from the others, ask for help when you need it. And that is another cultural issue. So when I came to this country in US in 68 and started working, my goal was just do my work and put extra effort to get it done. Then my mentor taught me at AT&T Bell Labs that if you are good and productive, it doesn't mean that you have to do everything yourself. Look for help when it's needed. Ask others who can chip in, and that's a sign of leadership. You need to grow into it. And I understood that valuable lesson. And we can always borrow the good models and templates from other sources. So if somebody has done good work, try to acquire that, adopt them, adapt them. Find your personal prime time. Now, I know at the campus, most of the time students are working in late night. So sometimes we have conversation at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning as well, when critical deadlines are approaching for the task or a subtask. So either you are a morning person, evening person, or late night. And the idea is, remember that 80-20 rule. So whatever is your personal prime time, you want to have 20% of that prime time accomplish 80% of your real results. And make sure nobody comes in the way for using your prime time. Multitasking and downtime. When you are on a public transport, you have time, keep a notebook and a pen with you. Think about issues you are working on and find out how you can keep thinking about solving them, waiting at doctor's office, waiting for your plane, put on a hold during the phone call, and when you are early. So in summary, for managing time effectively, we need to set goals, prioritize our time, organize ourselves, learn when to say no, use our waiting time effectively, concentrate on one task at hand and continue your progress. Consider your personal prime time, and when you have accomplished your goals and targets, celebrate your success. So I've come across a very nice definition of time, so let me read it. Time is slow when you wait. Time is fast when you are late. Time is deadly when you are sad. Time is short when you are happy. So time is endless when you are in pain. So time is long when you feel bored. Every time is determined by your feelings and your psychological conditions and not by clocks. So have a nice time always. So I just want to share with you that back on 18th of March 2016, when I was traveling to India, Swami Nikhileswaranand is shown in the top right picture in the middle. He was with the Ramakrishna Mission in Vadodara. Now he is Adhyaksh at the Ramakrishna Mission in Rajkot. He took me to B.Tech studio in Gandhinagar, capital of Gujarat, where Commissioner Mr. A.J. Shah, who is now retired, shown in a white shirt, gave me 45 minutes to talk about effective time management. At that time, using satellite, the connection was made from B.Tech studio to connect with 450 colleges, benefiting 500,000, 5 lakh students and faculties to learn about effective time management. And that link is shown here as well. So we are concluding today's third session in the effective time management. Next week is on Thursday, 14th of April, same time, effective teamwork, the fourth successive items to learn project management and apply it for the career development and solving society's problems. So two key takeaways, extremely critical. Please take time to write down two things you have learned from today's session, which you will implement when you are back at your studies or if you are working in the industry. And with that, we want to thank all the partners, AICT, Atal Academy, Alma World, and of course, the student team doing great job. And I'm going to stop presenting and back to you, Anil Kumarji.
Uh, Thank you, Manuji. It was a very wonderful lecture and very meaningful lecture also. And people must have got some practical tips. How is it that they can be more productive in case you can manage your time well? Naturally, your productivity will rise tremendously. How is it that you can be productive when you are calling the meeting, when you are in the meeting? And how is it that you can avoid many kind of interruptions? Your lecture has been wonderful. Like it is wonderful and good not only for the practitioner but also for the student also. So thank you very much for coming out with wonderful ideas. And I must thank Dr. Girdhari Lalji. His presence basically makes this whole environment very lively. The kind of smile he brings on his face, it makes all of us very, very happy. And I would like to thank his team, particularly Gautamji also. We had initially some problem, like maybe he was very helpful and just maybe, yes, we know that maybe Manuji this time is not talking about risk, but yes, there are risks involved. So like maybe also face one kind of risk, but it was not all that bad. We could lose about 15 minutes, but Manuji ultimately could make up the time, or he knows how to manage the time. So thank you, Manuji, once again.
Thank
So I
you.
also thank Shakti Tiwari ji, who is from Alma Word. Every time you'll find him, he's before time itself. Like maybe yes, in case the lecture has to start at 8:30, you'll find him there at 8:25. So we all have a lot to learn from Shakti Tiwari ji. Shakti Tiwari ji, thank you very much. And anything that you do, in case the stakeholders are not there, so the whole program goes meaningless. Am I correct or not, Manuji? So I must
Yes.
the faculty members, the deans, directors of various colleges, etc., not only motivating themselves but their colleagues and the students to come and maybe join this program. So they also deserve a big clap from my side and a big thanks. So thanks to everybody. And maybe I must thank my office staff members, like, and also my student team. They have done good job. So they all deserve my appreciation. Thank you very much. Thanks. Have a good night.
Yeah.
And
Are
have a
there
good day,
any
Manuji. Have a good day,
key
Manuji.
takeaways? Any key takeaways from the campus and one or two key takeaways from Gidar Lalji? We have about 7 minutes left, 8 minutes left.
First takeaway is according to atmosphere, please manage the time.
Okay.
Manuji, here we have a student, like they will introduce themselves and they'll tell you what is the kind of thing that they are going to take away from this lecture. Yes, please.
Great.
Introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. I think the best key takeaway was regarding the time management program. Like we all have very much what is the way of doing the work is to manage time. So if without that, we can take all the work we want, but we want to spend time. So time management is very good. And leadership.
Now, maybe good thing is that he has understood the importance of managing time, Manuji.
Thank
So
you.
we also have Abhinandan. He would like to share his thoughts about this
Yeah.
lecture delivered by you today. Abhinandan.
Okay.
Myself, Abhinandan, and my key takeaway is we should be doing the things by planning the things. Like if we do the things the last moment, then that we will be stuck and we cannot work under pressure with our 100% proficiency. So that is my best takeaway from the today's session.
Very good. Very good.
Focus on planning. Like in case you focus well on the planning, yes, you will be doing wonderfully well when it comes to execution. Yes. Good.
Correct.
So now we don't have any other comment. Like Manuji, in case you permit us, we can stop.
Yeah. Fine. Thank you very much. And we'll regroup on 14th on effective teamwork. And thank you, Gidar Lalji. Thank you, Shakti ji. Thank you, Anil Kumar ji and the team there. And of course, Gautam Kumar and Rahul Kumar for helping on the live streaming. So thank you. Have a rest
you.
of the evening. Thank you.
Good night to
Namaskar.
everybody.
Namaskar. Bye. Bye.